Hey, this is Hardy Burke with the Hardy Burke Internet Broadcast Network from the State of the Art Studios right here live in Round Rock, Texas. I'm with Larry Carstens with Encore Concrete, what we call supply store, right? I
That's
used to
correct.
call it, we used to call it coatings because you kind of switched on us a little bit, but we're going to discuss that later. Welcome, Larry. Say hi, prove you're here.
Well, appreciate the opportunity to join you this evening,
And this is
Hardy.
the
Thank
first
you.
time you've done this too, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so this will be fun. Hey guys, we're gonna talk about something tonight, which I think is kind of fun because the cool thing about doing this show is I get to talk to a lot of Austin small, medium business, and I bring them all on. I bring them on from the walkways to whatever. And tonight, believe it or not, if you have home business and we're going to talk about concrete coatings and how cool concrete can be. Larry's going to fill us in on all the different products and the differences in these and what works in Texas, what doesn't work, stone, rock, concrete, you name it, right? So we're going to have fun with that tonight.
Yep, hope so.
Hey, and Larry, I'm going to mention I've got a couple mention first because they're the guys that pay the light bill for us, keep the show on the air, by the way. And the first one I thank is CPR Cell Phone Repair. They're located right here in Round Rock at La Frontera. You can go look them up at cellphonerepair.com, cellphonerepair.com. Everybody at some point is going to drop their smartphone or their iPhone and they're going to crack a lens or the little move their finger around. Nothing's going to work. And these guys have great surgeons. They literally take it all apart down to the bare bones, and they can fix these phones. So go check out CPR Cell Phone Repair, located in Round Rock at La Frontera, and go check out their website, cellphonerepair.com. And then I think you know this person, Mike O'Neill.
I'm
Mike
not
O'Neill, the
familiar
money
with
coach.
Mike.
You remember the money coach that used to come to that meeting in Round Rock? I think it
Oh,
was back a long time ago. But
I
anyhow,
think I
Mike
met him.
O'Neill, the
Yep.
money coach. You can find him at MKO doing a lot of corporate training within corporations now. Still the money coach, still working with people on solopreneurs and people working on their budgets. And he's got everything you need to know about it on mkoneal.com. So go check that out. And he's got videos. He's got free courses. He speaks all over the country. So if you need a speaker, you should go to his website and check him out, mkoneal.com. We're going to thank a couple of our sponsors right on the front end. Pretty cool, huh? I got sound effects. And I'm going to jump over here for a sec. Let me move this over. And Larry, you gave me a ton of questions to ask tonight, and I want to make sure we're still over here. Oh, hang on a sec. Do, 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 do. Okay, guys, bear with us. We're looking for something here. There it is. All right, so we're still going strong. I'm flipping between screens tonight, so if I hesitated, I wanted to go back and make sure it was working. This is kitchen table talk, so it doesn't have to be perfect like radio. But first thing we wanted to do was make sure we're still broadcasting when I flip screens. And so here we are. So, Larry, first of all, do you guys, for your company, which the name of your company is Encore Concrete Supply, and your tagline is decorative coatings, right? Do you guys have a
That's correct.
website?
We do. It's www.encoreconcrete.com.
That's pretty easy, and we'll mention that throughout the show. And for you guys listening for the first time, we keep this in audio format. I cut the cameras on YouTube. It's an outbound show, so if you hadn't be listening in on the live show, we'll just be spewing out tons of information for you. But Larry, let you know that website will be linked inside your custom player at the end of the show, which we give you. Okay.
Terrific.
So tonight, you gave me. I asked for a couple questions. I got 10, which is what I asked for, right? And you gave me a very intense amount of information for us to go through, and we're going to try to cover as much as we can tonight on the show. But before we do that, I always like to try to give our listening audience a little bit of knowledge about Larry. So where's Larry from?
Well, I grew up in Minnesota, don't you know?
Minnesota. We stole your North Stars.
Well, that's true.
Didn't we? It's called the Texas Stars now, right?
That's right. And they turned them into champions. They
Isn't
won a
that
championship
weird?
in Dallas.
Because there was a big, huge following for the North Stars. So that was huge when they left
Oh,
there a long time
absolutely.
ago. That was like treason
Hmm.
for because hockey was always known to be in the North. You know, that was at the beginning of those days. But the Minnesota North Stars, don't you know? Now, did you ever do ice fishing or anything?
I wasn't a big fisherman. I was more into basketball and stuff growing
The
up. I
sports
played,
stuff, right?
baseball and whatnot. But
And who wants to go sit on a lake when
well,
it's minus 20 and a tent around you with a hole in the ice dipping for fish, right?
well, that's oftentimes an excuse to get together with your buddies and have a good time, I
That's what I
think.
thought. Yeah, it's a guy weekend for sure. I can almost promise you that.
Yeah,
And Minnesota is known for their lakes. There's how
that's
many? The land of what's the
well,
tagline for it?
they do say it's 10,000 lakes, but I think that once they counted them, they said that it was closer to 12,000 or more.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. I
Uh-huh.
mean, and they're beautiful. They are all. It's a beautiful state. I used to travel there some, and we were talking about that for the show. Cool place, really. Just not a
Hmm.
fun place to be from say December through March,
I
right?
would agree with that.
Come
That
south, come south, come south.
that had a lot to do with me moving to Texas in
Right.
the harsh winter.
Now, music. Do you listen to a lot of music?
I do from time to time.
Do you
I
have a
guess.
genre you like?
Oh, I'm probably a rock and roller. I
Me
grew up,
too. Yeah, classic.
when the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and so on. That kind of, indicates how old I am,
Me
maybe.
too.
But
We're about there. We're both there. So yeah, so we both have something common in this week. We both had birthdays last week, right?
That's right.
And so we got a year older, but me too. Mine was always the '60s stuff, and then it migrated into the classic rock, is what they call it now. But back then it was Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah.
My favorite band, Boston, came along in the '70s, but you had Rolling Stones when they were young. It
Yeah.
was the best music time ever, no doubt
I
about
think
it.
it was when I was living in Dallas. I was fortunate enough to see, some really fine bands, and uh, you know they're classics. I'd have to say I don't see that today.
You lived
That
in
was
Dallas for a while?
I sure did.
I did too. I lived there 30 years, and I remember back. I'm thinking this was the '80s. The Rolling Stones and ZZ Top played at the Cotton Bowl,
I saw the
and
Rolling
I was
Stones, and
there. I
I
was
was there
there
too.
for that.
I did too.
See,
I
so
was
and that
there.
was a great day. That was a
Mhm.
full day of Rolling Stones and ZZ Top. That was awesome. I remember that.
Well,
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Well, we got some of that way. So there we
yeah.
go, guys. So it really turned into a music show for there a minute. But we're going to talk about concrete tonight. We're going to talk about the different coatings and what goes on. So, Larry, let's jump in because we only have an hour and we want to make sure we give people all the information we can. Can you tell us, and in a brief description, the different kind of coatings that we use for concrete and where would we see some of those applications? And I'm sure we're going to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. The foremost product that we promote is acrylic overlays, which is a acrylic cementous product that is actually sprayed on the surface after it's properly prepared. We can do a lot of decorative things with it. It comes in a multitude of colors, and we can create patterns and such. We can make it look like stone. We can make it look like tile, and so on. So there's a lot of flexibility in that product.
And so the acrylic, what does it sprays on, right? Is it,
Mhm.
what is it is it a smooth or can it be composed where it can be a look and a feel too? Is
It,
it
it
that
gen
sophisticated?
It generally does have a little bit of texture so that it's going to be slip resistant. We use it around swimming
Right,
pools
so
for
people
one.
don't
That
fall down until it gets wet, right? So
absolutely.
it's got a little edge to it, but it can be made. So you guys can literally go in and cut patterns and then fill those in with the acrylic to make it look like it's stone face or smooth, whatever they want, color,
Yes,
whatever. That's
and
cool.
really any size tile you want to, start with a small tile, a large tile, and so on to fit the exact space.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so all these people with their boring surfaces, the standard pull surface, right? This would be a great application if they wanted to put some color and some feel and some look into it to kind of blend in with their landscaping and everything, right?
It really is because, as I mentioned, we've got a number of colors that we can use to give it some, real character and decorative look that is going to blend in with your existing decor.
And so we're going to get into it in about the third or fourth question. So you guys just sit tight for a minute. We're going to talk about what you do on the supply end and how people can get involved in this. But one of your, and I didn't recognize this one. What is a micro topping? I saw that and I didn't look it up because I wanted to kind of be surprised. But what is a
Sure.
micro topping?
Well, might have a surface that's been oh, spalled or cracked or stained with some ugly
Right.
material that you're at the surface so that you can give it a nice, clean, fresh new look. You would then go in and stain it. Microtopping is multiple layers of real thin concrete material that just gives you a fresh surface to work with that's neat and clean
So
and
after you
uniform.
clean an existing surface, you can go back in and put this micro top on, right? It's real thin, and it cleans it up and makes everything look bright and fresh, right?
Yes. A perfect example would be is if you took out carpet and you've got those tack strips around the outside
Oh,
edge
got
and you have to
you.
patch those,
Yeah.
they're going to look odd.
So you might as well come back and cover them up with something so it blends in with the rest and it doesn't look like you got holes all the way around it or it was drilled with something.
Exactly.
Awesome. So that's okay. I get it.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And DuraShield.
Well, DuraShield is a relatively new product, and it's one of my favorites that we've started using here over the last couple of years, and it's a very versatile product as well. It goes on by simply rolling it on a lot like you would paint or epoxy, but it's more than just paint. It's very decorative. It's extremely tough. Can be used in a variety of applications as well. We do it on patios, in garages. It's tough enough to withstand the
Pressure
hot
from
tires and
and
so on.
pressure from the car and everything else.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
And that's
Yep.
why they call it DuraShield, I guess, right?
Right.
So it can
Yeah.
make a garage look better. It can do some things, help it out, all this stuff.
And
So
what we found about DuraShield is that it's appealing to a lot of people that would like a coating in their garage and look at epoxy as the primary option,
sure.
but it's a little too expensive. DuraShield is less expensive, but it's just as tough and decorative.
So yeah, so you don't have to go to the real high end stuff, and it works great. So it's a great application for the. I'm not going to say the average person, but for the normal homeowner that wants his garage or something done. Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you've got a water based type of coating, and it's called color mist stain. And I don't think I've ever seen color mist stain. Have I?
Um,
Where would I have seen that?
Color Mist is actually a relatively new product
Okay. All
also,
right.
although water-based stains have been around for a while, but they've probably haven't been perfected well enough for a lot of usage. You probably are familiar with the acid stains. Those are the stains that most people think of when they think of stained concrete. We have migrated more towards the water-based stains lately simply because they are more predictable. The acid stain, one thing people
Could
do like,
fluctuate really. It changes the look and the feel.
absolutely, it reacts with the lime in the concrete to
Ah,
create a
okay.
unique look.
All right, got it.
But
Got it.
it's maybe not always the look that you're looking for. So that's why we've kind of gone to some of the water-based stains.
And so when the water-based stain's done and the water's dried out of it, does it leave a pretty solid coating, or how does that? I guess what I'm saying is it's laid down with water, right?
Well,
Or is it just the look and the feel? Is that's why it's called water-based?
well, it's just the rather than being an acid stain, it's a water-based
It's a water-based.
stain, so
Okay,
that
got
it
it.
does not react with the concrete
And
like
it
I
stays
mentioned with the
consistent all
acid.
the way through the look. Got it.
It will create a look that's similar to the acid stains in many respects. It'll have modeling. It'll have unique
So it's got so
characteristics.
it's cool. So if somebody lived in a like I did up in Deep Ellum in Dallas, right at a loft for the concrete floor, we could have you come in and make that kind of look hip and cool, and put kind of so it modeled and looked, kind of went with the building. That's pretty cool.
Yes, it really is a great look in that respect, and in many cases you can't tell the difference between acid stain and water-based stain.
So you've kind of introduced two new products so far, DuraShield and the Color Mist Stain. So that's cool. Now, do you have on the website? Do you have when you go meet with clients? Do you show them sample pictures to get a feel for it? I guess what I'm asking here, and this might be a question for the room, but I just thought of it, so I was going to ask you now. For people to get a feel how this is going to look, how do you do that when you supply these to them? And they come in and say, okay, I got a square this big, but they say have 1,000 square foot of something they're going to coat. How do they get that look?
Well, I do have samples that are larger than the little chips
That
that
they
you
can
see
go out and lay
typically.
down, right? Okay.
They can look at, and I've got a portfolio of photos that they can get an idea of what we've done in the past, and we can come up with something that's creative that will fit their particular
Cool.
color scheme, perhaps. And what I do is I will make them a sample of the colors and the pattern that they are looking for in a larger sample, so that they can see what it looks like.
Yeah, without and then
before putting
before
it
they
down.
put it in, like painting the wall, right? You can paint a big enough section to get a feel for the color when it blends
Yeah.
in with everything. Okay, so
Exactly.
epoxy.
Well, epoxy is your traditional coating that is used oftentimes in garages, and I mean it's extremely hard and durable coating, and it looks very decorative when you throw the acrylic chips over top
Sure.
of it as well. Um, the drawbacks to epoxy is that it's generally not UV tolerant, meaning that it'll yellow if it's out in
If
the
it's out,
sun.
you get
So
that sun, so you want to make
yeah,
sure it's an indoor type of application,
yes,
possibly, right?
yes,
Okay,
uh-huh,
that's what
hmm,
you're saying for sure.
right,
And then
right.
sealants are all this stuff that kind of goes over the top of this, right, to make sure it stays intact, right?
Correct.
Clear in color.
Yeah, and we do have, yeah, we can add colorants to the sealers in
That's
some
awesome.
instances too, but by and large, most of the sealers are meant to go over and be a sacrificial coating over the acrylic overlay or the DuraShield
Right,
or something
right.
like that.
Got it. Got it.
Hmm.
That's awesome. So we just talked about some of the basics and the different coatings. So what some people might be interested in hearing, Larry, since this show is going to be ongoing after the show, right? We're going to have your archive. What are some examples of surfaces that are candidates for your coatings? Because you're the supplier, right? And so, what kind of applications will these things work on?
Well, we like to say virtually anything that's concrete, whether it's a regular surface or a
Hmm.
vertical surface, we can put a coating on it. But in terms of the most popular places that we see are patios, porches, walkways, of course the garage,
In
DuraShield on it,
driveways,
or
pool decks, all those
and the
things.
pool decks is an excellent one. I like to point out that the DuraShield product is great for pool decks now that have an existing coating that may be showing some signs of staining, or getting a little older and looking a little duller. It's an economical way to go over and put a new surface on it.
Okay, and so, and then that's the exterior. What about some of the interiors applications?
Well, what we see in the interiors is people are looking at staining, of course, is the most popular thing for an inside a residential
Yep.
facility. But um, the DuraShield is an excellent product for a commercial building. We've done some office buildings that get a lot of traffic, and
Right.
it's very durable. Um, it could be used. It's maybe not as decorative inside a residence, other than in a maybe a game room or laundry room or something. It'd be a little bit more
And now I'm
practical
seeing
there.
a lot of people kind of, and I think I saw a couple big houses that a custom home builder built that's a friend of mine out in the country, right? And I noticed that this big ranch house, they left the concrete floors, right? But they come in behind it and cut out grooves to make it look like tile, then came back across that and did what you just talked about. They put a kind of a cool color surface on it, and when you walked in, I swear the floor looked like big giant pieces of tile, right? But it had this cool coating, and a lot of
Yeah.
people are migrating toward that kind of. I
Hmm.
call it the cool look, right?
Well,
They leave the concrete as the surface, smooth it, get it real
mhm,
glassy,
mhm,
and then come in and cut out grooves and put
right.
designs in it, then come back in and put paint sealers and
Yeah.
stuff
Well,
over it.
what I think you're talking about is where they do scoring,
Yeah,
and
scoring.
they
See,
either
there you
do a
go.
tile look, or they could do designs. We've got
That's what
one
I'm
where
saying. You
we
could put
a
literally put
star of
yeah,
Texas or something like
right
that.
on in the outside on and under the patio or inside. That's cool, and then
That's
paint it in
exactly
with the
right. Yeah.
color. That's awesome. So see, we're giving you guys all these cool applications. So if you're a homeowner and you want to learn how to do some of this stuff, right, which is what we're going to get into, what you're excited about. We
Right.
were talking about this before the
Yeah.
show. Is why would somebody or anybody for that matter want to become an installer of Encore's coating products? Because to me, it looks like a homeowner, with Home Depots and Lowe's and everybody do-it-yourself stuff today. More and more people are saying, "I'm going to try it." Right.
Right.
So, how does that? Is there an income potential for them? Is it easy to learn? Um, is it low cost to get into it? What can you address some of those questions?
Yes.
Our crack staff came up with these, by the way. Our producers. No, I'm kidding. Our producer's sitting right next to me.
Of course, there is income potential. The process, like anything, it takes a little bit of time and energy to learn the process, but it's not rocket science by any means.
Right.
With somebody that's kind of got the time, dedication, and willingness to learn how to do this, we feel that we can train them to get out and get started in the concrete coating business really easily.
And it's really popular. So for somebody out there, Larry, that's looking for, that maybe has a pickup truck that's kind of not decided what they want to do in life, and they like to do outside activity or physical work or just kind of enjoy that kind of thing, this is a perfect candidate for what you're doing, right?
It could be. It's very easily a home-based business, or somebody that wants to just do certain segments of it, such as coat garages.
Right.
With the either DuraShield or the
so they could be really
epoxy.
nichey within this too with you guys, right?
Absolutely. I would say that it takes a greater measure of experience and training to do the acrylic overlays and to do the epoxy, because there are some things in there that could be a little tricky, and if you make a mistake, you want to know how to fix it a little easier. Plus the equipment necessary to do those applications.
Yeah, so let's face it, there's an investment from them if they want to get into the business, but you guys offer the training availability, right, through Encore and product manufacturers, and teach all these people everything. So if somebody's really serious,
yes,
they just need to sit down, talk to you, and have a one-to-one and figure it out, right?
Exactly. We can train them on the fundamentals. We will continue to offer support to them if they've got a project and they've got some issues that they aren't sure about. We can certainly guide them. And our product manufacturers all have technical support on the phone too, so they have a second layer of support in that respect.
And so, certainly compared to buying a brick and mortar business that sits on the corner of a location, right, that costs tons of money to build, have to hire staff, have to make sure you've got all your point of sale stuff and everything. It's relatively low cost when you think about jumping into something like this, correct?
That's correct. Yes, it is.
And how about in the technical support and training? I would imagine, Larry, that a lot of this is repetition learning, right? That you do something over and over enough and you get used to the different coatings, right? That you get really good by doing them over and over. So how long does training take is it depending on what niche they want to be in within the coating, or?
Well, I would say that with a session with us, we could probably have you out there doing certain coatings in a matter of a few days. And you could do them confidently with the training that we're going to give you. Now, like every business, there are things that are a little more complicated. We were talking about the acrylic overlays,
sure.
and you mentioned the scoring and such of concrete. We can do that. That's a little more involved. And if you are not properly trained to do that, it can be
a real mess.
It can
So you guys have the ability to put people in place for that if somebody gets a job like that. They just need to sit down with you, work with you, and get involved and see what they want to do in it. Then you guys can go from there, right? The whole point is you're offering up a chance for somebody to start a business through you guys.
Exactly.
Just being the suppliers, so that's good.
And we want them to be successful. So like I say, we're going to give them hands-on training to begin with. And if they've got a job, they can consult us and say, how do you go about this process with this particular job? We're going to send them out there with a manual, too, that's got all of the formulas and information and so on. But it's something that I think they can get up to speed with very quickly.
Yeah, because I remember when you jumped into this, right, you went through your learning curve on it, and
I did.
You even sent me a video at one point that I edited for you where they were showing you doing the job, and it looked pretty cool. It's a pool, I believe, that you did, and it was fun watching the process, right? So
I believe that was a job here in Pflugerville that turned out really well, and we were really proud of. That's one thing I would like to mention is in this business, you can, when you're done with the job and you stand back and look at it and with a sense of pride that you actually accomplished something.
It's there for a long time.
Physically there. I was in the service business in the past, and when we were done with our job, it was like you had a pile of signed papers.
And you were done, and you walked out the door. So it's like putting the building up. You get to see it for a very long time, and you get to, and I would imagine that the good thing about that is the people that had it done get to remember who did it for years and years, and so the referrals come over and over and over, right?
That is
true. You guys, I mean, because they go, somebody says, hey, this is a cool thing. Who did that? That just seems like to be automatic for seeing the work still there, right?
I think in our business, word of mouth is golden. I suspect it's probably the same way in your business. And
Yeah,
anytime you get
word of mouth.
somebody that's is going to say something nice about your work,
We
it's
make them write it
invaluable.
down and post it online, don't we? Yeah, but no, that is, and that's the beauty of it, because it is something when they have a pool party or somebody comes over and looks at something, they have the ability to remind the person, even if it's a year down the road, right? Hey, this is who did this. You need to contact them. All right, cool.
Right.
All right, we're going to take a 1 minute break here, so catch your breath. Okay, I'm going to thank a couple more sponsors here. Time flies, by the way. I don't know if you know that or not, but time flies on this show. You're fine. You're not bugging anything. So we want to thank Danny L. Smith. DannyLSmith.com is a John Maxwell certified coach. He's a guerrilla marketing coach, and he also just created a program that you can go sign up for free, see some videos, and get the worksheets. It's called StopWastingHandshakes.com. So how many of you out there get a business card at one of your network groups and come home and put it on your stack by your computer, don't enter it into a database, don't follow up, and then you don't put notes on it so you can't remember where you got it or who you talked to? So guess what? It has a website you can go to tonight, right now, after the show. Let me repeat that, after the show. StopWastingHandshakes.com. He's got a cool follow-up sheet. He's got the videos of how to do this, and then if you want to go deeper, he's got a little sign-up program where you can be on webinars with him for the next 12 weeks, going through a real intensive from content management databases all the way through everything. So you get this really super follow-up system. So go check out Danny L. Smith at StopWastingHandshakes.com. All right, that's my break. Find my mouse there. There we go. Thank you. Larry's sitting over going, okay, I hope, Herdy, that all this stuff sounds as good as it is. And what he's going to be surprised about is, while we're sitting here and you don't have an audience in front of you, you don't get it, right? But when you hear it, you're going to go, wow, that sounds better than I thought it was going to come out. So you're doing great, by the way.
Oh,
This
thank
is
you.
his first time, so we're easing through this. He's got some great questions. So, all right, so the website is EncoreConcrete.com, correct?
That is correct.
So after the show, I'll put a link up on the custom player. Go check out his website, EncoreConcrete.com. If you are interested in looking at becoming an installer or starting your own home-based business at a relatively low cost, I encourage you to go to his website, get a hold of Larry. He has contact information on the website. He'd love to sit down with you, and he's great at business. Take my word for it, and he'd be a good guy for you to meet anyhow, and check that out. So, all right, so the next question is, and it came, and this is a great question, is, and a lot of people may be sitting out there, do I need a background in construction? Do I need to become an installer for this? Do I have to have any kind of licenses? What do I have to in order to do this?
Really, there's nothing special about being an installer. Background in concrete might be helpful.
Right.
Background in construction might be helpful, but it's not a requirement. I might be a perfect example of that. When I first became interested in concrete coatings, I was in a completely different industry.
Yes, you were.
And I was just drawn to it by the idea that I could produce something that I could stand back and look at and be proud of when I was done with it. And I think a lot of people have that same feeling that, if you're in a service business or something like that, it's just not the same as being a builder of something that you can
there's a lot of pride in that.
with.
But
Exactly.
and I think your point about this question was also that if there's, we were talking before the show as we were prepping, that there's seasonal times of the year. There's certain times when construction guys may be real busy, but then that runs out at certain points. That this would be a great kind of pickup opportunity, along with them already being out around people that they know that have the possibility of wanting this service, correct?
Exactly. Some of the first people that come to mind are like landscapers, when grass and
high-end
shrubbery and so on
Yep.
is dormant, and the pool cleaners and such. They'd be a natural for this.
Yeah,
business.
because then they can just jump right out of that season into this one and work the same people that are already in their database that they're already calling on, and go back and speak to them. And I know people in Austin, especially with the kind of rock and the yards and the systems we have, and especially with the drought, they probably are looking for ways to improve the look of properties. And what a better way to look at it than put some color with it or put some look to it that you're not getting with the green grass anymore. And everybody's going to zero landscapes or hard landscaping,
Well,
right?
I think you're right there, and that brings to mind some of the people that do come to us that are interested in having some of the coatings done, is people that are looking to sell a house. They're
Sure.
looking to improve the curb appeal of a home, or redo a pool deck or something that's looking a little shabby, so that it will sell the house quicker.
Yeah, and we're in that market right now where buyers are coming in and sellers, people realize the value of their home's going up, and if there's a chance they can sell it and walk away from it, it's always nice to give it a look and a feel.
Mhm.
And so that might be a good reason to do this too, is try to find people trying to sell their home that want to kind of give it a more of a decorative look, right?
Right.
Eye appeal.
And that dovetails into the idea that there are some things that a do-it-yourselfer can do. I would feel comfortable training somebody to do some of the DuraShield applications
That's
and some
awesome.
of the staining
That's
applications as
awesome.
well. I would steer them away from some of the others that require a little more time and attention to detail and the investment in equipment in order to do it. But do-it-yourselfers, I think, could handle both the DuraShield and some staining projects.
I know this is out there, but I just thought of something that would be really cool, and somebody's going to just run with it. But wouldn't it be cool if you had these cutting machines that could cut concrete in a certain kind of like stars or looks, and then coat and color those and sell those, right, for decoratives and yards? I'm sure there's big companies that do that already, correct? So, I mean, you can just about decorate
Yeah.
anything that's concrete.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we do a lot of the Star of Texas stencils over acrylic overlays.
That's awesome.
They look beautiful.
I bet they're cool. I guess they can pick really the Star of Texas, I'm sure, has a certain color, but I guess if somebody wanted to, you have these stencils you lay down, right, and you score it out, and then you come back and color and stain it, whatever, as close to the picture as
Yeah,
possible,
they
right?
they
And they
can
can have that
yeah,
look in the middle of their driveway. They could have it around their pool. They could have, that's cool.
right. We can virtually anything that you can get a stencil for, we could put on. Even a company's
That's
logo
awesome.
or name or something like that. If they wanted to put that on concrete,
That's awesome.
we could certainly do it.
With their names, all that stuff. So that's
Yep.
cool. Good
Yep.
stuff. All right. So you don't have to be a background in construction, and you don't have to become an installer. But what I think you're suggesting is for those that are kind of have that contact base already, would probably be a prime candidate for you for off season, or even as just starting and wanting to do it as a sideline and have it as part of their operations, right? That would be great. So,
Right. I think a lot of people do start out as part-timers. That
right,
it's something that they want to try and decide if it's something that they could be successful at, and
right.
they do it to supplement their income.
Okay. And the next question is, because we've talked about uh, everything leading up to that, is what kind of equipment, vehicle, what generally is the rule of thumb for this business?
Well, it would probably be helpful to have a pickup truck, of course, to haul your
Not a
equipment
Ford
out.
Pinto,
Probably not.
not a Miata.
You
Okay,
don't
all
really
right,
need a trailer or anything like that to get started.
but you need a work truck.
But a work truck it would be helpful, certainly, because the type of equipment you're hauling around is stuff like power washers, and with the acrylic overlay, you have a continuous run compressor. Those are kind of the heart of the operation. We have to clean the concrete, no matter what application we're
Yeah,
looking
the
at. It
first
has
thing
to
is
be
it has to
cleaned
be
thoroughly.
pressure cleaned and get all cleaned up so it can take the whatever sealer or whatever coating you're putting on it. So that's a
Absolutely,
clean. Then the step is you come back and make sure it dries and start this other process. So
that's accurate.
so
Yes,
you
it
need
sure
that
is.
big pressure thing. It sits in the back of the truck with the pressure gauges. So you've got a compressor, you've got a built-in
But you're investing in
power washer
assets that
deal.
are
Right.
going to be valuable to you going forward and useful in the installation process. It's not like you're paying Encore Concrete supply for this equipment and a big fee to get started. You're
Right.
just buying material from us, and we're going to help you be successful.
Right, yeah, because you guys come in on the back and not selling the equipment. I think we're going to make that perfectly known. You can tell them what they need to get, right? But you guys are the supply house for these types of coatings that are going to go on that you're going to work with people to show them how to use.
Exactly. We've worked up a checklist of the equipment that we think is necessary for the
That's
different
awesome. So at least you're
applications,
giving people a lead-in sheet.
and an idea of what their cost is going to be, so they can determine if they want to buy something. Some equipment you can rent, some of it you can find
I was going to say, there's
used.
rental companies all over the place that have the kind of stuff you need for this, I can imagine.
Absolutely.
That's cool. All right. So, and what kind of employees are needed? Is this a large operation for somebody who wants to start this, or can they do it themselves?
You generally want to start with yourself and a helper on almost every basic installation that you're going to see for residential properties. If you decide that you want to expand the business, of course, you can add employees as they get trained and you feel confident that they can go out and do the job for you. Of course, we can train them.
Right. And my next point to that would be is that I guess first thing is you want to make sure that if you're doing this, your estimates are right so you can afford to help her.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
number two, do you guys have templates, or part of the training, do you lay out estimate sheets? Do you show them a standard estimate sheet as part of the training, kind of help them through understanding how to do that?
Absolutely. In our material that we provide for the installations, we give you formulas that are necessary, give an idea of what the cost is going to be for each type of installation, and generally guide you on, we can't dictate what the price would be per square foot in every instance, but we give you a ballpark guide so that you can
Yeah,
figure out
so
what
you
is
don't goof it
normal.
up and you kind of get close to where it needs to be, but you've got to figure up your jobs right so you can bring a helper in and all that stuff, and you've
Right.
got to know what the market's bearing, and so it's just basic business stuff, right?
Exactly. We want you to be making some money so that you're going to go out and do more jobs and make more money and hire more people, perhaps, and grow the business.
And you've got a nice little statement under that, and it says Encore can assist in providing assistance in developing those relationships. So there you go. I mean, so you guys are sounding like a pretty good one-stop shop for somebody to get started. And I guess what you're trying to do is build a network of people that are buying the supplies, because that's really what you guys are, companies. You want them coming back and back for more supplies, right?
Certainly, and to emphasize your point, we do make introductions. There are people that have skills in the industry that you may not have, and you can partner with them on
Yeah.
certain
I mean, that
jobs.
makes total sense. So if you're starting this and it gets real, but you're in it, there might be somebody that's really nichey in this that you can call up and build them into your estimate, right? And say,
That's
hey, I
correct.
want to outsource this to you. So you're still managing the project. It's just that you're doing like a lot of contractors. You're bringing in the people that can supply or finish the service work. So that's awesome.
Exactly. And let me give you an example of that. We oftentimes bring in a company out of Georgetown that we work with from time to time to do the cleaning of the concrete, because they've got a truck mounted unit that will very quickly and efficiently clean a large
Right.
area for us. If we've got something that's, it's a couple thousand square feet perhaps, it makes more sense to bring somebody like that in
Well,
because
they've
they
already
can
got
do
the
it.
equipment, truck, they're ready to go. It's what they do best. So you call them in, let them do it, and they're part of the estimate,
That's
right?
correct.
And then you guys are still turnkey in the job. You're just bringing in the people to get it done. That's awesome.
It
So
makes
why go buy
perfect
that
sense.
extra equipment if you can hire somebody when there's 10 of those guys and two of them are really good? You could just put in and say, we're going to use you when we need you to clean this stuff. That's awesome. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So can someone do this? And I guess the way you're wording testimony is, can somebody do this part time? Meaning, I guess you're assuming that they're doing something else and they want to get started in this. Can they start part time? I think I know the answer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's an excellent way to get started, to find out if it's something that works for you and
So look,
you, you like
it's a
doing it.
supplement your income, and it's not an MLM. What's that all about? That's pretty cool. It's a real business in that sense. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying MLMs are not. I'm just
yeah,
saying that this is an opportunity. If you want to get started, you could be learning as you do it. You don't have to give up and feel the stress of giving up your income level, and you could build this till maybe that income surpasses your your full-time job, right?
Exactly. And we know a lot of people that are, say, semi-retired. They just, they've got to keep busy doing
And they want
something,
to
and they
do
want to make,
something, right? Perfect.
yeah.
I would imagine that somebody that's got a lot of contacts could jump in this and just about outsource the whole thing and kind of be the superintendent over the job, right? They buy the supplies from you. They've got the coating company contracted out. They got the company that cleans the concrete, and they just turnkey it and manage it and run it from a project management standpoint, right?
Absolutely. That's
That's the
very
way I
possible.
would do it. If I'd say I want him, and him, and then and oversee the job, right? But and buy the supplies from you, of course. All right. So, and your website again?
It's www.encoreconcrete.com.
And you obviously have a contact page on there, right? This is Larry Carstens. Well, when an email comes in through the contact page, does it come directly into you? Do you see it?
It does. It comes
Okay.
directly to me or my partner, Jeff.
Right. Now, here's the thing that everybody's trying to do today, Larry, that just kills me, right? And that is we've all become these DIYs, right? Do it
Oh, yeah.
yourselfers and at what cost, right? And at what expense. So um being in the supply business, um can these do-it-yourselfers coat their own concrete? Or how would you suggest that do-it-yourselfers stick to DuraShield? What products should a do-it-yourself? What I'm asking you is, what do-it-yourself DIY? What products does he really need to stick with so he doesn't screw it up?
Well, I would say DuraShield and the Color Mist Stain.
Okay.
We can teach them how to use those products successfully without having a lot of difficulty, and actually making them bond properly and get them properly sealed without having the risk. Some of the sealants that we work with are solvent based, so you got to be very careful with them. The acids that we use to etch the surface, you got to be extremely careful with them. So we teach people, where the hazards are, and
Yeah, I
what the
mean,
techniques
you've
are.
got labels on products that are a legal document that they need to learn how to
Absolutely,
follow.
absolutely.
And so that's the good part.
Mhm.
So you're saying do-it-yourselfers need to start with the basic products that are pretty simple to use. And then if they want to get more advanced, that's
Right.
when they need to sit down with you guys and say, look, we need to show you how to do this.
Exactly. I always like to see people be successful, and if it's something that's really beyond the scope of what a do-it-yourselfer should be doing,
I'd be calling. Bob, get
yeah.
down here.
I don't want to see them get frustrated. There's a lot of what epoxy kits available at like Home Depot and so
Sure.
on. And if I don't want to badmouth those products, but if
Well, they're box companies, you know what I'm saying, and
if
they're
the do yeah
DIY, so we get that.
if the do-it-yourself kits were that high quality and that easy to do, we wouldn't be in the epoxy business. But
Right,
trust
because
me, we
yeah,
are in the epoxy business.
yeah, you guys are the professionals in the business, and why there's probably, like you said, the DIYs are bound and determined to try it. They're going to go do that, right? No matter what you try to explain to them, and they're
Yeah.
going to figure out quickly this is not easy to do.
It's not easy to do. And I don't want to scare people off or badmouth
No,
them too much, but we get a lot of calls from people that say, my epoxy is peeling up. Can you fix it for me?
yeah, okay,
I've
that was going to be one
yeah,
of my next questions
I,
here.
I've sometimes we can, but I'll tell you, our guys hate grinding those surfaces off because
And that's labor
grinding
and power
is
and expensive.
difficult and expensive.
Yeah, because you got to clean it. You can't go
Exactly.
over something that's already coming apart. It's like painting. If you've got chips, you can't paint over and not expect those to fall off too. So you've
That's
got to go.
correct.
So the labor is more intense. So why not do it right the first time? Hire a
I agree.
professional. I mean, money is time and time is money. However you
Exactly.
want to put it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
pay me now or pay me later. I think
That
that
would
was
be
an
true.
advertisement at one time, right? All right. So, um, what is I got here that you've got examples of typical jobs. So let's talk about that a little bit, because now we can get into the guts of what you see and what you get into, right? Because you've been through these yourself. So where do most jobs fall? What kind of space and what kind of square footage? What and what kind of job?
Well, what we see the most of are like patios or porches, walkways, and then the garages, of course. And occasionally we get a large patio, pool deck, or something like that. But the general range is, I would say, about 400 square feet to about 1,000 square feet. Now, we've done some jobs that were bigger. You know, we've done excess of 3,000 square feet, and we've got one that's coming up that we're going to do multiple barns for a person that are several thousand square feet each.
That's awesome.
But the people that start out are going to see most of their jobs being a residential patio.
Yeah, small, just or maybe putting a stencil, a color, or something like that on
Yes,
it. Right.
yeah. And we've been very fortunate. We've done a lot of work up in Sun City in the retirement community
Huge
there.
area
And
to get involved in up there.
the people up there are really looking to, improve their homes with, coatings on their patios and so on. And I might mention, as we talked about before, that the products that we promote have slip-resistant materials in them in most cases.
So they're safe.
You don't want people slipping on them.
No.
You see cases where you may see a stained driveway with a coating on it that's very slippery, and that's something that looks nice, but let's be practical.
Yeah, I mean, you want you want to make sure you're not falling down on slippery surfaces. You want to make sure it grabs your foot or whatever you're doing and
Yeah.
works. And so, and
But
then, and
I
go
want to
ahead.
add too that around the swimming pools, though, it's slip resistant, but it's not so harsh on the bare feet that it doesn't
It
work around
grinds
the
it like
pool.
sandpaper,
Yeah.
right?
I've yet to have anybody complain that it was too hard on
Right,
their
and you
feet.
remember
That
in
it,
the old days when they just put concrete around pools when you were a kid, the one thing you had to be careful of, at least where I was raised and growing up, when you were around that pool and they just had concrete and it was slippery, you
yeah,
could bust your butt real
well,
quick. And so having
yeah.
these kind of surfaces that keep you protected no matter whether they're wet or not is obvious around
Mhm.
your pool. I mean, I would think that you'd want that like that. So
And that brings to mind another coating that you see that's popular. It looks very attractive and it's useful in a lot of locations. It's the exposed aggregate, where you see the stone actually on the surface of the
yep.
concrete. Those can be real hard on the feet and
Oh, absolutely.
slippery as well.
Yeah, yeah. You that's deceiving because it can be.
Mhm.
Okay. So the thing I'm gathering from this is, all the jobs. What kind of review? They start with the cleaning, and then you go back in and you prepare for the coating, right? So there's kind of a 3 or 4 step process depending on if they've had some in the past. It's bad, so that's step 4. So
Right,
there's really cleaning and then setup and then actually the coating, right? It's
right.
really a 3 step process unless you have to clean something off that was there before.
Well, most of the time, most of the effort is in the preparation. People will see us doing a lot of work to get the surface clean, and
Sure.
sometimes we'll have to do some patching if there's some chunks of concrete out,
Fill
or
it in first so it
fill in
looks
cracks and so on, and get it nice and clean and ready to go. And then we put down the coating, and then we put down a sealant over
that's
top of
awesome.
it. So
That's
that's
awesome.
basically the steps
And
that
then
are
people
involved.
get to see this great thing. You guys get your camera out, take a great picture, and say, "We did this." And once you drive by and take a look at it, right?
Exactly.
All right. So, if someone, and we've mentioned this throughout the show, Larry, and like I said, shows are for information purposes. We want to give people as much information as we can. If somebody's interested in talking to you, obviously the website encoreconcrete.com. I'm going to post your number, but do you have a partner in are you a partner in a business?
I do have a business partner. Yeah, his name is Jeff, and
Okay.
he and I have been together on other business ventures in the past, but we reunited for this business. He's got a background in concrete and
That's
and
awesome.
and so on too, and his family. He's got a brother that has been in the industry for quite a while as well. So
And you
it was kind
guys
of a natural for us.
on your website, can they find you have an informational package you send out by email for somebody when they contact you, right? You send that to them by email?
I do. I put together a package that has a lot of the basic information that we talked about tonight. It's got what you call frequently asked questions about
Sure.
the business, and it will give some examples of what the profitability would be. I don't want to bore people with some of the numbers right now,
Yeah,
but
but the
it'll
fact
give you
you
an
give them the
idea.
package, it gives them some readability
Yeah,
information, right?
exactly.
And then you guys offer and I don't know how often you do it, but you guys offer an intro to decorative coatings, right? Is this a classroom situation where you do this like every Saturday or once a month, or?
It'll probably be a once a month and a relatively short, informal
That's good.
meeting where we'll have a little, maybe barbecue or something,
Yeah, and just teach
and
people.
beverages, and we'll talk about the products that we have, introduce them to the people that run our company, so they pick up some literature on each of the products, and just discuss the different projects that they may have upcoming that would be a good candidates for our coatings.
And now, do you guys, your supplier, do you guys stock a lot of the inventory here locally, or do you bring it in after it's ordered? How do you generally supply the all your coatings?
Well, we're going to carry a representative products so that they'll be readily available.
Okay.
I know as when I was an installer, the worst fear I had was that I was going to run short of product while I was out on a job, and I had no place to get it.
And now you do.
I do.
And so look at Larry's company as a supplier, but they just don't hand you the stuff and let you go out the door. They want to train, teach people how to start their own business. They're going to help you with the training. They're going to even suggest through a list type of equipment you need to purchase, right? Because they're a supplier, right. But they'll help you through that. They'll even train you on some of the simpler coatings to start with, so you get your feet wet. So if you're thinking about starting a business, or if you're just somebody listening tonight that's interested in this and you need supplies,
exactly,
come buy them from you. You guys are kind of a turnkey operation in this, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts you have that I missed? What did I miss? Any stories, any samples, any fun things? Can you tell me a fun job you did where the people were just like, oh my gosh?
I do have one from a couple up in Sun City. It was just a real pleasure to work for them. They did have a real nice patio that they added on to, and they put flagstone on it, which, as you know, flagstone's a really nice stone, and it's very decorative, and it can be a little expensive. Well, they discovered that it was actually, getting stained from stuff coming off the trees and whatnot, and they couldn't keep it clean. Plus, the gentleman had a health setback, and he was in a wheelchair, and he found that the surface was just really uncomfortable to, take his wheelchair over and so on.
Sure.
And when we met him, we talked about the options, and we ended up taking out his flagstone and putting in a decorative overlay for him in a nice diamond-shaped pattern with a really pretty chocolate colored border, and it just turned out to be wonderful. And they were so appreciative that we could come in and provide them with that kind of surface, especially with him having, like I said, the health setback that he did. And one thing that we noticed is they had a smoker sitting up on some concrete blocks, and we said, wouldn't it be nice if we coated those blocks to match the surface down there,
so it blended in with
blended
it.
in.
Yeah.
And we actually did that on another job, and then we were up in his neighborhood, and we went by and presented him with it, and he thought, man, we hung the moon or something like that.
That's good.
We thought it was something simple that he just really needed, but you get that kind of relationship with some of these customers that you really enjoy working for them, and they're so appreciative of what you've done. And that job, I have to say, they're not all flawless, certainly, but that one just really looks so nice. We were really proud of the way that turned out.
And so not only do you get the satisfaction of doing the job, you get the kudos after it's over, and part of that is seeing the results that are continue to be there, and you get people compliment you on your business. So, hey, thanks for being a guest tonight.
Oh, thank you.
It goes fast.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're almost done. I'm going to finish up with some other stuff. We want to thank Larry. You need to go check out the EncoreConcrete.com website. He can do a mail out package. They have some events that they'll do as people request. They're setting that up right now, and you can buy your supplies for all these coatings directly from them. And the best place to go is straight to their website. Phone numbers are there. Contact information's there. Go find them on the website, EncoreConcrete.com. And then to finish up tonight, want to thank all 10 sponsors. I never get to all of them on the show. It would type the whole show to blurb every one of them. But please know, sponsors, for those of you who've been a sponsor of me for a couple of years, there'll be a link on Larry's player directly to our service companies. Please support our Austin small business. We're all out there, and we want to make sure, and these are all very reputable companies that are on my sponsorship. You're very familiar with some of them.
I am.
And a lot of good ones on there. Charles Schiller's on there from, Round Rock
Oh
Home
yeah, I know
Inspector,
Charles.
and we've got a lot of people that support the show. And we're here every Tuesday night from 7 to whatever. Sometimes they go an hour and a half, sometimes they go short. But Larry, you get the final word tonight. So.
Well, I just want to thank you for inviting me to do the show. It's quite an experience, and I appreciate the opportunity to share my message with your audience.
Yeah, and this will be an ongoing show for Larry, because we're going to put together that custom player, and he's going to get links and some embed code, and I'm sure he's going to have some questions about that after we get off, and I'll show him how it looks and works and everything. But if you want to listen to the archive show, or you want to share this with some of your friends, if you go over to Facebook and type in Hurdy Burke Broadcast Network, HURDIE, that's my first name, yes, I'm the only one, and Burke, BURK, Broadcast Network, that's the group you'll find. It's free, it's public. You just click it and I'll accept you. And all the archive shows go there. And Larry, I'll be sharing your custom player back to your Facebook page. I invited you as a friend today. I thought we already were, but you got an invitation waiting, and we'll put that on your page.
Okay.
And we'll share this out, and then Larry's going to have his own show to post out. And this is great basic information. It's a great little infomercial, because anybody listening to this whole thing is going to know exactly what to do when they get off the air. But that host guy kept talking too much. So, all right. Hey, what is, I do have one more question for you. Do you have a business page on Facebook at this time yet, or just a personal page?
Well, we're working on that.
You're working on that
Yes,
stuff.
we are.
Okay, great.
We
That's
sure
fine.
are.
But right now, just
Absolutely.
focus on the website, right? And you guys go check out Encore Concrete, oneword.com. We'll see you guys next Tuesday night around the corner. And this has been the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. Good night, everybody.